Hi everyone, welcome back to My Taboo's Voice channel. Today we are going to be talking about addiction. Addiction is something that we all, I don't think there's a single person that isn't addicted to something. And there could be healthy addictions and also addictions that are not so good for our health. And I'm going to start out talking about my own and how I discovered why I developed this addiction. My addiction is to sugar, and it could be any kind of sugar. And I started making my own pastries so I could control the sugar intake that I am consuming. But what ended up happening was that it also opened up a new door of like experimental, which I love. And so I started experimenting, making different types of pastries. And by doing that, you always have to sample your pastries to make sure that they're delicious before you gift them away. And that impacted my health, because it's not that I wanted to consume that much sugar, but then it's because I was making those amount of pastries for loved ones or friends. I had to taste every single one of them that I made, like just one of each types of pastries that I was making. And over time that accumulates, and that impacts your health a lot. It wasn't until I became very, very sick and my body would not take any sugar. It only wanted simple ingredients. And that's when I realized how like bad sugar was for the body, that the body would, when it's not well, it's at its lowest, it would not even take sugar. It can't. And the only reason why our body is able to take sugar when we're healthy is because we're healthy. Our body is able to process it and remove it out, or use it as fuel. And so that was mine, and it was during my journey at the very end of when I left my last job. I was forced to sit down with myself to understand, how did my whole entire life come to this? And what I realized was that the only reason why I was consuming sugar is it gave me a feeling of joy, happiness, warm, safe. And I had to think back to, where did that all stem from? And it all stemmed from childhood. Because I remember when I was still a kid, my parents, before they would leave somewhere, they would give us like a biscuit or a piece of candy. And they would leave. And that was their symbol of like, here is a treat for you, be good, and I will come back. And so, to me, I didn't realize, but I took it as a safety, as a comfort. And so whenever I was seeking for comfort, safety, a feel good, I would seek for sugar. And when I realized that, I was like, okay, so that means that now I understand myself a little bit better, and areas that I need to fulfill within me, because that is my responsibility to fulfill my own safety, love, warmth, and just joy. And so that's the journey that I started. I started continuing to fulfill those areas that I realized that needed fulfilling, because at the moment I truly felt that I was fulfilling those areas already, but I always found moments of going back to the sugar. I wasn't consuming sugar all the time, but like I was saying earlier, I enjoyed making sweets for others. It was so much fun because it allowed me to be experimental and creative, and that was something that I really enjoyed doing. But once I was able to do the reflection and come to the understanding of why that addiction started in the first place, I didn't want to make sugar like that for anyone anymore. And a lot of people in my family, and friends, they've mentioned, we love your sweets. We don't feel that way towards it when we consume it. And I'm sure that if you were to ever sell your sweets, it wouldn't, people are not gonna, they buy it because they want to consume it anyway. It's not that they are addicted to it. And for me, I understand that very well. But because of what I went through with my health situation, and sugar was one of the things that I could not consume until I got better. It just tells me that sugar is something that I do not want to promote, because I want everyone's body to be at its optimal, not half. We are our best when we are at our highest vibration. And if sugar stunts that, then no, I'm not going to promote that. Especially if that's something that I do not believe in. And so more and more I decreased the amount of sweets that I would make for others, and I would make for myself to consume. And truly, I've seen differences in myself. The clarity I have, you don't have that fogginess after consuming sugar, and that sleepiness, because like when you're consuming a lot of sugar, your body has to do the work to remove it, and so that takes a lot of energy. And sometimes when you consume too much, is like your body is like, okay, well, I need to put you to sleep so I can remove all the sugar, because you staying up is just, and also moving around, you're using a lot of energy. But just food for thought, when you do consume a lot of carbs or sugar, instead of sleeping, always go for a walk, because that would actually help your body a lot. But besides this, the reason why I'm having this talk is because that's an area that we all need to explore. Why did you start your addiction? Where did it stem from? That's something that has always been in the back of my head. And I truly believe that the reason why addiction even starts in the first place is because it makes you feel something positive. Because if it doesn't make you feel something positive, you wouldn't continue to keep taking it. And when you figure that out, See if you can fulfill that for yourself so you don't have to continue on that addiction, especially if the addiction is not healthy for you. Like, for example, if it's addiction to sugar like me, or any types of drug, pornography, it could be excessive eating, it could be gaming, it could be many things. I think that that's something that not a lot of people understand, that addiction is not only drugs. Addictions could be anything that you do excessively, that it becomes unhealthy. But you're in denial, and like others have pointed it out. What's crazy is that my sugar intake, nobody has ever pointed that out. If anything, it's because I was making a lot of those sweets for loved ones, family, loved ones, friends, and fundraisers. And that's when I was consuming a lot of the sugar. Though, when I have my cravings, yes, I do make it on the side too. And so that would be like on top of the top. That's the reason why the overload was so great. But yes, and truly that is, it doesn't matter where you're at. No matter what, your body is always gonna try to get your attention, to understand that certain things are not healthy for you to consume. But it's a matter of, will you pay attention? Will you care enough to listen and say, okay, maybe I need to take this into consideration? And will you love yourself enough to say, I need to take the step to stop this addiction? And you don't have to go cold turkey. You can slowly decrease your amount, and then eventually, if you could, yes, the goal is always to consume it less and less, but you go at your own pace, because you know yourself best. Because the thing is that one thing I've realized during my journey is that when the body is stressed, it goes and seek for those addictions. Because, like I've stated in the earlier, these addictions only developed because they were actually a positive feeling for you. It doesn't mean that it was good for you. It just means that it gave you a positive, warm feeling. And that's the reason why you kept on continuing that pattern. And it's once you realize that you can feel that yourself, now that you understand where it stems from and what are you trying to fulfill within you, that's when the addiction actually slowly stops. Understanding yourself is like the greatest gift you can possibly do and give to yourself. Because once you understand yourself so well, habits are not so healthy for you, addictions, patterns that you're doing, friends you're keeping around, people that you're keeping around that are not healthy for you, that all stops. Because you realize not only your worth, but you realize that keeping those energy around or continuing those patterns, habits, addictions, they're not serving you. They actually keep you low. They keep your vibration low. And you don't want to stay in that place anymore. And that's when you really you start making those hard decisions that are uncomfortable, but they're very needed. And I just want to mention that by removing people or a pattern, habit, or addiction, those are so many different things that's going to give you different kind of feelings, and it's going to be brought up for you to purge it out and release. And you're going to do it the way that works for you. No one's way of doing it is the correct way. Everybody's way of doing it is uniquely, it's what aligns with you, truly. And so, whatever you're guided to do to help you in your journey of releasing addictions, patterns that aren't healthy for you, people that aren't healthy for you, follow that. There's going to be a lot of noise along the way that are going to give you suggestions of what to do, and what you're doing is not the right way, and that's their opinion. And if you happen to meet somebody that does provide you with beautiful suggestions, and it does feel like it would align with you, try it out, see how it goes. Because that was something that I did along my journey. I was guided to do qigong. I was guided to start doing yoga again. I was doing yoga when I was younger, and I stopped. And I was guided to do yoga again, and I love yoga. Still doing yoga every day. Journaling, meditation. Yeah, so you find what works for you. That's all that matters, is that you are taking the steps of aligning yourself, taking care of yourself, and removing what does not serve you. And that's what matters the most. And most of all, along your journey of understanding yourself better and removing what does not serve you, biggest thing is forgive yourself for all those things that you allowed in your life, in your body, because you did not know any better. And when you did, like now, you're taking action. And that is what matters the most, is you taking action where you are now. And I am so proud of you. I'm going to leave our conversation here. I love you guys so much. I'm so proud of you guys. Keep making yourself proud. Keep putting yourself first. And I will talk to you soon.